Okay, so bulkhead work. I cut these out last year from a brand new piece of teak plywood. This part here is original, these two edge pieces. So they've got 1 or 2 coats of Interlux Interpron wood sealer. I don't recall, it's 1 or 2 because I did that last year. And now I've got 2 coats of Interlux Schooner 96, which is very nice and it's working out really well. Not sure about the color difference here. This will, of course, darken up. I plan to do 5 coats of Schooner. So that should probably take on a bit more of an amber color, but probably still will be lighter than these pieces. And after that 5, maybe even 6 coats of Schooner, I'm going to do 1 coat of Interlux Gold Spar Satin, which will give it a nice satin finish, a more modern finish. Also, I mentioned I laminated a mast beam, which is this piece here, made of oak. It's quite thick and very strong, so of course that's going to stain a lot different. Doing all this varnishing work in my basement, which actually is finished, but what I do is I run a fan. I open a window in the other room, run a fan pointed at the window, and it kind of creates a draft, but there is ducting here that goes through the house, so there's some smell. And here we are at 5 coats. Not much of a darkening, a little bit, but not much. It's very smooth, very shiny, but the shine will go away with the satin. Okay, and now a couple days later, 5 coats on the other side, and this seems to be slightly darker than the other side. And here it is with the satin. It looks pretty good. I had a little trouble with this can. It wouldn't self-level because it was very thick. It may be because it had been sitting in the can for about a year. So I ended up having to redo it several times, 4 coats actually, having to dilute it and sand in between coats. I had a sand between every coat of everything else, the sealer, the Schooner, and of course the satin with 320 grit. But I'm pretty happy with the finish, I think. And just need to do the other side and then install them in the boat. But first, I'm going to remove the head before I put the bulkheads in. That way I'll have a bit more room in here. I was able to take these two screws out, no problem. Then I had to take this one out with channel lock pliers. I didn't need to take the one out in the back out because I kind of slide it out under it. So yeah, new head now. Okay, so I've dry fitted the new head, and it's a Jabsco 29090 3000, which number has been superseded by another since I bought the toilet. Still the same toilet though, and it's a nice modern toilet. So I've removed all the plumbing that goes to the holding tank here, and removed all the fittings for the most part. I'm in the process of scraping and sanding all of the bilge paint. I'm also going to epoxy in some plywood there for the deck wash system. Also need to replace the seacocks that go on these through hulls. They're definitely not up to standard. They weren't even screwed in to the blocks or to the hull. I'm not sure which route I'm going to go, but I'm definitely going to get proper seacocks here. That's a 3/4 and that's a 1.5 inch outlet. And finally, we have the installation of the new and revarnished bulkheads. And I'm very pleased with the way they came out. They look like a fine piece of furniture. I have installed the wet locker face temporarily. I'll need to remove that because I need to run some wiring in there. These look great. The mast beam. Machine screws, which I used. I drilled holes into the laminate beam that's behind there and then just screwed those in. They tapped new threads themselves, and the way I did it was I angled them slightly upwards, just a very small amount, so that as the beam gets pulled towards there, it actually pushes up against the roof of the cabin here, which it's meant to support from mast compression. And that is it for this section of the project.